Today we completed day 17 of the general chapter. We're in week 4, it's Tuesday, and this was a day when we wrapped up a lot of postulata that came at the end of the chapter. Most of these postulata, however, surfaced during the chapter, so they surfaced in regard to concerns that we felt had not been properly dealt with during the chapter. And that led to a lot of serious discussion. We began the day with a very, very interesting discussion on issues around protecting vulnerable adults and children, particularly against sexual abuse or any kind of abuse. And I was impressed with the conversation because the confreres are aware that we have to take responsibility to make sure that our policies and our procedures are lived, and that they are lived because we are in the right spirit of protecting the vulnerable. Later on in the afternoon, we got into a very interesting discussion on the role of brothers in the Redemptorist communities. The number of brothers has decreased markedly in the last 20 years, and yet the role of the brothers, I think, has changed rather dramatically, to the point where brothers are often highly educated, where they are doing all kinds of very responsible roles within the congregation, and where our history of sort of treating brothers as the workers, as second-class citizens, sort of came to the fore, and we faced it. And basically what we were looking at were 3 postulata that would recognize that the brothers really have a critical role to play in our congregation, and that we need to foster vocations to them as well. The third item that caught our attention was the issue of Africa and Madagascar. In the 2 previous general chapters, we had made Africa and Madagascar a priority, and there was, at this stage, very little room for anything about Africa and Madagascar on our agenda. So we developed a couple of postulata to support the relationships that are needed between the African units and other units, so that out of those relationships we can develop the kinds of connections that will lead to development of the congregation. Similarly, we also agreed to a congregation-wide, not exactly a contribution or a collection, but something that will allow all of us to contribute to the fund for Africa and Madagascar. There was a 4th item that surfaced towards the end of the day, and that was how we are going to deal with the media today, what kinds of things we need to invest in, particularly personnel and education, in order to get the gospel message out through the media that's available to us today. By that time, you could tell the delegates were tired, but they were keen to approve moving into, if you will, the 21st century and seeing where that leads us. So in short, today we dealt with 10 postulata, and we passed all 10 of them, 3 of them albeit with alternative versions, because we had to correct a few things. And then at the end of the day, Father Michael Braille, our General Superior, gave a little presentation of encouragement, recognizing that we still have some tasks to do, particularly on the message of the general chapter and the theme, and moving a lot of the responsibilities that we have decided upon here at the chapter into the conferences. So tomorrow we will tackle things one more time. I think we're starting to see the end of the tunnel, or the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's encouraging to see how the confreres, the delegates that have been here, have been happy with what we have accomplished and what we have discussed. So I bid you all adieu. I wish you God's blessing and continued prayers for our chapter for the remainder of our day or days.